You spent serious money on this car, and I get it. The moment you drive it home, you start thinking about what you can add to make it yours. Better wheels, tinted glass, a little more performance. I've talked to hundreds of Tesla owners in my time, and that instinct to personalize is completely natural. But here's what I keep seeing come through the door. Owners who made modifications that seemed harmless, popular ones they saw on YouTube, and months later they're dealing with battery issues, denied warranty claims, or worse. Not immediately, not with a warning light, just quietly, in the background, the damage building up until it can't be ignored. I've spent time going through real owner reports, service records, and warranty documentation. And I've talked to enough technicians who work on these cars daily to know which mods actually deliver and which ones you'll regret. That's what this video is about. So let's get into it, starting with mod number 8 and counting down to number 1, then flipping to the 3 modifications I'd genuinely warn you away from. Part 1. The 8 mods that genuinely improve your Tesla. Mod 8. Paint Protection Film, PPF. The Invisible Armor. Kicking things off at number 8. PPF won't change how your Tesla drives, but in my experience, it's one of the smartest long-term investments a new Tesla owner can make. Paint protection film is a transparent urethane layer that goes over your exterior and absorbs the kind of daily punishment that slowly strips a car's finish. Rock chips, road spray, light scratches, parking lot scrapes. What most people don't realize until it's too late is that Tesla's factory paint tends to run thinner than a lot of other manufacturers. I've seen Model 3s come in with rock chip damage on the hood and rockers after less than a year of regular highway driving. Those are exactly the zones: front bumper, hood leading edge, rocker panels, where a partial PPF install pays for itself. There's also a choice of finish. Gloss PPF keeps that factory shine completely intact. Satin or Stealth PPF gives the paint a flat, muted look that a lot of Model Y and Model S owners specifically ask for. It reads more aggressive and less showroom floor. Either way, the film is fully removable, so your factory paint underneath stays untouched if you ever trade the car in. On cost, a full vehicle PPF wrap typically runs between $3,000 and $7,000 depending on the shop and the model. A front-end partial, just the bumper, hood, and mirrors, brings that number down considerably and still protects the areas that take the most damage. If resale value matters to you, this one makes financial sense. Mod 7. Aftermarket Wheels, the mod that changes everything. Number 7. And this one's interesting because it's one of the few modifications that touches 3 things at once: the way the car looks, the way it handles, and how far it goes on a charge. Most mods only move one of those needles. Tesla's factory wheels are engineered for efficiency. They're usually aerodynamic covers over relatively heavy cast rims. I've had owners come in asking why their Model Y feels a little sluggish off the line, and 9 times out of 10 the tires and wheel weight are part of that story. Swapping to a proper aftermarket setup changes the character of the car noticeably. If your priority is range, forged wheels are worth looking at seriously. Forged aluminum weighs significantly less than cast, and that reduction in rotational mass means the motor is doing less work with every revolution. In city driving especially, where you're constantly accelerating and decelerating, that difference adds up across a daily commute over months. On the handling side, tires matter more on a Tesla than people expect. These are heavy cars with instant torque. The factory rubber is usually a compromise tire aimed at range and noise. A proper performance tire, something like the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S or Bridgestone Potenza Sport, gives you noticeably shorter stopping distances and a more planted feel through corners. I've driven the same Model 3 Performance back-to-back on stock tires versus an upgraded setup, and it genuinely feels like a different car. One thing I'd always tell customers: get a proper alignment done after any wheel swap. It seems obvious, but a lot of people skip it, and within a few months they're wondering why their tires are wearing unevenly. On a Tesla especially, where regenerative braking and instant torque put unusual stress on tires, alignment matters more than on a traditional car. Mod 6. Coilover suspension, for the driver who actually drives. Number 6. Tesla's suspension setup is a mixed bag depending on where you live and how you drive. I've had owners from cities with rough roads tell me the ride is genuinely unpleasant on their daily commute. That harsh, choppy feeling over expansion joints and patched asphalt is the factory tune prioritizing low center of gravity and flat cornering over long-distance comfort. A coilover kit with adjustable damping solves that. I've seen Koni-based setups from Unplugged Performance fitted to Model 3S and Model Ys, and the difference on city streets is immediate. The suspension absorbs road imperfections instead of transmitting them straight into the cabin. What's useful is that you can dial the firmness up for track driving and back down for daily use. Same hardware, completely different behavior depending on what you need that day. On the other end of the spectrum, Model Y lift kits are becoming genuinely popular among owners who take their cars on light trails or gravel roads. A modest lift paired with all-terrain tires opens up a use case most people never thought a Tesla could handle. It's a niche setup, but for the right owner, it completely changes what the car is capable of. What I'd caution against is doing the alignment yourself or skipping it entirely. Suspension geometry on these cars is precise, and even a small tow-out condition after a coilover install will eat through tires in a matter of months. Have a shop with a four-wheel alignment rack check it after the install. It's a straightforward job and worth every penny. MOD 5. Pedal Commander. Instant throttle response. Number 5. And this one genuinely surprises people when I bring it up. The assumption with an electric car is that throttle response is instant, and in terms of raw power delivery, it is. But the drive-by-wire system in a Tesla, like in most modern vehicles, introduces a small intentional delay between pedal input and motor response. Tesla builds that in for smoothness and efficiency. It's not a flaw, it's a calibration choice. A pedal commander plugs into the OEM accelerator port and remaps how aggressively the car interprets pedal input. In the sharper modes, the response feels noticeably more immediate, particularly useful in urban traffic where quick acceleration gaps matter. What most people don't know is you can also run it in the opposite direction, a softer, more gradual pedal curve that improves range on highway drives by reducing the tendency to accelerate harder than necessary. Because the install uses factory plugs and doesn't touch any software or electrical system beyond the accelerator input, it doesn't carry the warranty risk of harder modifications. I've had customers run these for 2+ years with zero issues. And if you ever want it out before a service appointment, it unplugs in under a minute. MOD 4. Carbon fiber interior accents, the premium cabin upgrade. Number 4. Tesla's cabin is minimal by design. That's a deliberate aesthetic choice. But I've had customers come in who traded out of a BMW 5 Series or a Mercedes E-Class and find the interior a little flat by comparison. Carbon fiber trim pieces bridge that gap in a way that feels intentional, rather than afterthought. Real dry carbon, not the plastic wrap that passes for it on cheaper products, has a texture and depth to it that reads as genuinely premium. The 3K weave pattern catches light differently depending on the angle. Center console covers, dashboard inserts, door trim, steering wheel accents. Fitted correctly, these pieces look like they could have come from a factory sport package. From a risk standpoint, this is about as clean as modifications get. No tools required on most pieces, no electrical involvement, no software interaction. If you're someone who's cautious about warranty implications, and after the next section of this video, you should be. Interior trim work is where you can upgrade freely without any concern. MOD 3. Window tint, temperature control, and privacy. Number 3. Window tint on a Tesla is one of those mods that looks purely cosmetic, but actually has a measurable functional impact. I've had customers in warmer climates tell me their cabin temperature on a parked car in summer is genuinely uncomfortable, even with the glass roof. Ceramic tint on the side windows cuts solar heat gain significantly, and because your HVAC system doesn't have to work as hard to bring the cabin down to temperature, you recover a bit of range in the process. The one thing I'd be clear about with any installer: side windows only. The front windshield houses Tesla's forward camera array for autopilot and automatic emergency braking. Certain tint films, particularly anything with a metallic or reflective compound, can reduce the clarity those cameras operate with, which has caused detection issues for some owners. That's not a risk worth taking for cosmetic gain. Go ceramic film, not dyed or metallic. Ceramic holds its color longer, doesn't interfere with signals, and does a better job with heat rejection. And use a shop that's worked on Teslas before. The curved glass geometry on some models requires an installer who knows what they're doing. MOD 2. Aerodynamic body kit, range and stance. Number 2. Tesla's factory aerodynamics are genuinely impressive. The drag coefficients on the Model S and Model 3 are among the lowest of any production vehicle. That's a big part of how they achieve the range numbers they do. A quality aero kit isn't fixing something broken, it's optimizing something that's already well engineered. Front splitters redirect airflow away from the underbody at speed, reducing lift on the front axle. Rear diffusers manage the turbulent air that collects under the rear bumper. At sustained highway speeds, that turbulence creates drag and instability. A well-designed diffuser smooths that airflow out and exits it cleanly. The handling improvement is subtle but noticeable on fast motorway driving. And the efficiency gain, while modest, is real. Material matters here more than most people think. I've seen cheap, flexible PU aero kits that looked good in photos and were vibrating loose on the motorway within 3 months. ABS plastic or genuine carbon fiber holds up to real driving conditions. Good aero work, properly installed, should blend into the factory line so well that most people won't even know it's aftermarket. MOD1, Roof Rack System. Expand your Tesla's capability. And at number 1 on the improvement side, this one gets slept on more than any other mod on the list. Tesla's glass roof is a stunning design feature that also happens to be completely unused real estate from a practical standpoint. Purpose-built roof rack systems for the Model 3 and Model Y attach through the door frame channels. No drilling, no permanent alteration, and instantly turn the car into something that can carry bikes, skis, a kayak, or a rooftop cargo box. What makes this genuinely practical is that it doesn't change anything about the car mechanically or electrically. The rack goes on, the rack comes off. The only real-world trade-off is that a loaded roof, especially with a cargo box, adds drag at highway speeds and will eat into your range. In my experience, most owners don't even notice on short trips, but it's worth planning around on anything over 100 miles. For families, cyclists, skiers, anyone who's ever been frustrated by the Tesla's limited cargo space, this is the mod that solves the problem cleanly, with zero risk and maximum reversibility. That's why it's number 1 on the improvement list. Part 2. The 3 mods that will damage your... Alright. Now we get to the part of this video that I genuinely want people to watch carefully. Everything in part 1 was about improving your car. What I'm about to cover are modifications that I've seen, through owner reports, service documentation, and community data, cause real and expensive battery-related damage. Some of these void your warranty. Some cause gradual degradation you won't even notice until it's too late. One thing worth understanding before we get into these: Tesla's onboard systems log electrical activity in real time. When your car goes in for service, that data goes with it. If a modification shows up in those logs and it's connected to the issue you're claiming under warranty, you're usually going to have a hard conversation. Keep that in mind through all 3 of these. Battery Risk 3. Direct 12V Electrical Accessories. The Silent Drain. Starting at number 3, and this one comes up constantly. In my experience, direct 12V electrical accessories are one of the most common mod-related issues I hear Tesla owners describe, usually after they've already done it and started noticing something's off. LED underbody kits, custom ambient lighting systems, aftermarket electronic gadgets wired into the 12V auxiliary battery. These are popular and they look great. The issue isn't what they do when the car is running, it's what happens when the car is supposedly parked and off. Tesla's 12V system doesn't behave like the auxiliary battery in a conventional car. It's actively managed by the main BMS and cycles through charge states based on what the car expects to be drawing. When you wire in an accessory that creates a parasitic draw outside of that calibrated load profile, the BMS is essentially responding to a load it wasn't designed to account for, and over time that mismatch wears the 12V battery down faster than its service life should allow. I've seen posts from Tesla service customers who came in with a car that wouldn't start, got told the 12V had failed, and then had the warranty claim denied because the logs showed an aftermarket draw. What catches people off guard is that a dead 12V on a Tesla isn't just an annoyance. It can lock you out of the car completely and prevent the main drive system from initializing. Usually what I tell someone asking about this is, if it has to be wired directly into the 12V, think very carefully about whether it's worth it. At minimum, use a properly fused tap and choose an accessory that draws zero current when the car is in sleep mode. Better yet, look for USB-powered alternatives that only draw when the car is actively on. Battery Risk 2. Third-party charging hardware and unauthorized charge ports. Number 2. Tesla's charging system is more complex than most owners give it credit for. The BMS doesn't just push current into the pack. It manages a live conversation between the charger and the battery, adjusting charge rate based on cell temperature, state of charge, and pack history. That conversation relies on standardized communication protocols. When you introduce third-party hardware that doesn't communicate correctly, unauthorized charge port assemblies, non-certified level 2 units that don't handshake properly with the onboard charger, the car is usually charging based on incomplete or incorrect information. In some cases, that means it overcharges a partially degraded cell. In others, it means thermal conditioning doesn't activate when it should. Neither is immediately obvious. Both compound over time. Tesla's official warranty language is clear on this. Damage from non-authorized parts or improper service is excluded. That covers the battery warranty, the 8-year unlimited mileage protection that most owners consider the safety net under their most expensive component. If Tesla's diagnostic data ties a battery failure to third-party charging hardware, that warranty claim is very likely going nowhere. The maths here don't work in the owner's favor. Save a couple of $100s on a non-certified charger, potentially expose yourself to a pack replacement that runs well into 5 figures. Most of the time, owners who've gone through this would tell you it wasn't remotely worth it. Stick to Tesla-approved hardware and adapters that are explicitly listed as supported. Battery risk 1. Third-party software power unlocks. The slow execution. And at number 1, the one I'd most want people to hear. Third-party software unlocks are marketed as a way to access hidden performance that Tesla is artificially holding back. More power, faster acceleration, same car. The pitch is genuinely compelling. In my experience, it's also the modification with the most direct and documented line to real battery damage. Tesla's BMS discharge limits aren't arbitrary restrictions. They're calibrated around the chemistry of the cells in your specific pack. Every limit on peak current draw, every threshold that triggers thermal conditioning exists because exceeding it generates heat at the cell level that the chemistry doesn't fully recover from. Usually what happens is the degradation is so gradual that owners don't notice it until they're comparing range numbers 6 months later and something's clearly off. Tesla Motors Club members who've tracked their battery health data over time, including after Tesla's own acceleration boost purchase, have reported measurable upticks in degradation rate following the change. A third-party unlock has none of the guardrails Tesla builds into even its own performance upgrades. The thermal load from those extra discharge cycles accumulates quietly, charge after charge, and the capacity loss compounds. Then there's the second layer. Tesla can and does detect unauthorized software modifications. Their documentation states this explicitly as grounds to void the battery warranty. There are also confirmed cases in the owner community where supercharger access was disabled after a software modification was flagged. For a Tesla owner who depends on the supercharger network for long-distance travel, losing that access doesn't just create inconvenience, it fundamentally limits what the car can do. Accelerated degradation, voided warranty, and potentially no supercharging for a performance gain that Tesla would have sold you legitimately. If more performance is what you want, the official route exists. The shortcut version usually costs far more in the long run than the extra power was ever worth. So that's the full picture. 8 modifications that, in my experience, genuinely improve your Tesla when done right, and 3 that I've seen cause enough real-world trouble that I'd steer most owners away from them. The pattern, when you look across all of these, is fairly consistent. Modifications that work alongside the car's systems, mechanical upgrades, cosmetic changes, bolt-on improvements, tend to deliver what they promise without much risk. The ones that try to override or replace something Tesla has engineered into the system, electrical loads, charging protocols, software limits, are where things tend to go sideways. What I'd leave you with is this. Tesla's onboard logging is more comprehensive than most owners realize. When something goes wrong and you take it in, the car tells the service team what's been connected to it. Modding smart means understanding that and choosing upgrades that don't put your warranty or your battery at risk. Now I want to hear from you. Have you run any of these mods on your Tesla? Did one of them go exactly as expected, or did you end up learning something the hard way? Drop it in the comments. Real owner experiences are more useful than anything I can tell you from my end. And if this video helped you subscribe, there's a lot more Tesla content coming. I'll see you in the next one.